Because knowing that God did something to me is not enough. I want to know a little more details.
Hello and welcome back to Black Bear Atheist. Today we're checking out part 3 and watching this guy's story, ex-atheist scientist and now is a Christian, a believer. We want to know his journey because maybe that will change our hearts too to become a Christian or at least believe in this amazing God. Let's get into the video.
I don't know if I can. I don't know if anyone can ever learn that or understand that because we don't know how God works. Obviously. But
But we ought to believe he exists even without knowing anything about this guy. And I said this in my few of my videos. This one of the reasons why you can't even trust any of religious texts is that how can you even comprehend or know anything if a God does exist? The answer is you can't. Or at least in my own opinion, to be able to comprehend such being or understand such being or be able to even write it down is something we probably can't do. It's just my opinion. If a God does exist, nobody has actually ever seen this God. They all are just writing about things that they think this God should be. Now, I know I'm going a little bit out there, but I'm saying if there is a God, which nobody has proved. If there's a super being, how can we even know the super being exists? How do we know anything about a super being? If you look at any of the God characters in any of the stories, they have human characteristics, which shows how much we impose our own characters on the gods and showing that we made them up. Yeah, I'm gonna stop ranting.
I want to keep looking at it, and I want to keep investigating various hypotheses. I don't think we should stop doing scientific research on the issue, but I think we need to be open. And it may be that biology is at the same place that physics was before Einstein came up with relativity. They
Interesting. Keep investigating. Investigating what exactly? God did it. We already know the answer. So what are we really investigating? I know there's some Christians out there like him, I guess, that are in the middle. Let's do investigations and find out how God did it, even though we know God did it. I'm saying it really doesn't matter when you already come to a conclusion. Like, if you're doing a calculation and someone gave you the answer, even though the calculation is complex, you can intrigue yourself and go ahead and try to figure out how they came to that conclusion. But since you already were doing the equation yourself and trying to figure it out, and someone just told you this is the answer, you don't necessarily need to go back. Why would you go back to check out how the equation actually works? It's to be able to have the knowledge and be able to do it yourself next time. So, if we're going back to try to figure out how God did it, are we trying to be gods? And these are the questions I'm asking because it doesn't make sense. If God did it, that's the answer you're given, even though it's a terrible answer. You don't need to do more research because you already come to a conclusion. But you want to have both of it. I'm not sure if I'm making any sense. You can put it in the comments. They want to have both of it. God did it, and we could do more research. At least some of them, the intellectual ones.
were kind of stuck.
Mm-hmm.
They had solved everything except this nasty thing called light, which nobody could understand. And when Einstein solved light through relativity, it changed physics forever. And it turned out physics was nowhere near complete. And now we're in a position where, we have a huge amount of more knowledge, which makes the physical picture of the universe totally different than we originally thought.
Nobody ever thought they were complete. Like, this is the weird idea that Christians and theists in general expect science to be. Nobody think science have arrived. We continually learning. That's why, things like the theory of evolution is still a theory, because there's so many places to grow. There's so many places we could learn more, dig up more research, do more, dive deeper, understanding how it actually works even better. That's why it's still a theory. It's not like there's no evidence and fact backing its claims, and it's not true. It's because we're digging more into it. We don't want to close our mind and say, oh, we know everything about it. How do you not prefer that over bullshit saying, oh, we already know how it works? How do you not prefer that?
And I think biology is in exactly the same place right now. We need to expand our tools. We need to include new concepts into our studies of biology.
We need to include God in biology. That's interesting.
And I'm not only the only one saying this, there are even some non-theists who are saying this. And one of those concepts may be teleology, purpose. Perhaps we need to put purpose back in.
Now, which theist is non-theist? It's saying this. Like, don't just put that out there without like, please giving me a name so I could search it up. Which non-theist biologists are saying we need to put God in the equation? Something we cannot measure, something we have no idea what it is, in the equation.
Into scientific equations, which has been taken out of ever since Darwin. The whole idea of evolution is it's blind, right? The blind watchmaker. It has no direction, no purpose. Well, the direction we know is wrong. Simon Conway Morris has shown that there is a direction in evolution through his amazing studies on the Burgess Shale and other things. He has shown that there are constraints. Evolution doesn't do just anything. It does only certain things, and it does it over and over and over again.
I don't believe people thought there was no purpose and there was no direction. The idea is that adaptation happens when creatures, animals, see that they're about to get wiped out, or nature understand that they're about to get wiped out, and they have basically two options: adapt and get better, or and not get preyed over, or just all get wiped out. Some survive by adapting, and that's one part of evolution and how diversification happens. Some survive by adapting, which they pass on their genes to others. So survival is a big part of this, and I would say that's in a sense a purpose. We're not talking religious purpose here of worshiping God. We're talking like nature driven purpose in a sense, I guess. You could consider that a purpose, and you could consider it to be a guiding in a sense, to guide species to survive.
So there's a direction. There are laws that seem to govern what actually can happen. It's not all random chance. We need to find out what those laws are, and we need to find out.
Random natural selection isn't random chance. Isn't this person supposed to know more about evolution than me, who just read like two books? And the school, actually, not the school textbook. I was not paying attention to that.
What they're about. And here's where I think philosophy becomes very important. Because scientists are not good at figuring out what what is the basis of science. Once they make a discovery and they find a law, fine, they can then write an equation and have it as a law. But oftentimes it takes some thought and some new approaches. I mean, Einstein had to use a whole different mathematical approach to get where he got. I think we're going to need to do the same thing. And I think that what we will find is that those new approaches, including something like teleology, are going to point even more than they do now to a divine being, a divine.
I mean, hear yourself. You said to bring theology, to bring God into the equation. Wouldn't that just lead to more God coming out of an equation? Like if you do like one times one, and I know this is a dumb example. If you do, if you do a one times one, one ultimately comes out of the equation. If you put something you cannot measure and something you really don't know, you put it in the equation, what would come out from the equation? That same thing, because it would just disrupt the entire equation. Like, it doesn't make sense what you're saying. If we put God in the equation, obviously we're gonna get bullshit. We can't test God. We can't know if God exists. We don't have evidence that God exists. Putting them in an equation is saying anything is possible and just throwing our hands up. Like anything.
Designer.
So I want to kind of get an overview of your journey. So you encountered these different things in science, and let's just get a quick summary of those. So abiogenesis, quantum mechanics. Was there anything else that really stuck out?
Well, the fine tuning argument.
Fine tuning argument. Okay.
Really, I learned about that later, but yes, that was definitely another.
So those were
piece.
some of the science. Was there anything else scientifically that?
Now, before you interject and say more, I want to know more about you and your journey, even though that's what we've been doing for the past 21 minutes. Yeah, the fine tuning is an argument, but no evidence to back it up. People gotta understand that an argument is not evidence. Arguments don't prove shit. It just don't. Debating with people and winning that debate doesn't prove shit. You can debate with me and win. Oh yeah, go ahead. But at the end of the day, I have facts backing me, and you have the Bible. So like, and nobody cares. Well, except people that just already believe in this bullshit. Oh, you want to debate? Nobody cares. Arguments are not evident.
Well, there's actually a lot of other things there. Some of them are not very well known, but just the idea that there's a lot in physics that is not known and is very surprising. And physicists themselves, some of them, are getting a little nervous because it looks like the CERN, for example, the CERN collider has not given the results that people are hoping for. A lot of theories have been thrown out. I can't go into details because I'm not a physicist, and this is just from what I'm reading. So, and there are other parts of biology that are incredibly suggestive of something way beyond anything we can understand, including consciousness, including human behavior. I mean, the idea that evolution, Darwinian evolution by natural selection, explains why we have morality, or explains why we're creative, or we love music. That's just
It does though.
nonsense. That's not even scientific.
But it is scientific. Like, it's not nonsense to understand that evolution, through evolution, we're able to create these means. I mean, just think about it. Do you really think we will all survive? Humanity as a whole, we go from not really having 8 billion to having 8 billion people on the planet. I don't even know how to say that. We go from having like hunting and gatherers to having civilizations to today having 8 billion people. Do you really think we would have been able to do that without coming together? No. That's the that's how we survive. And once we understand that we need a society, we need civilization, we need to get together to help each other to survive, even though at the beginning it was more of a tribal thing. Once globalization started happening, there was even more improvement on our survival. We are eradicating some diseases, curing diseases, doing bunch of things by working together. Isn't that a good? Isn't that literally evolution? That's true evolution. Understanding that how we gonna actually be fitter for our environment, survive better for our environment, is by working together. That is true evolution.
Scientific. Those are stories, okay? So what makes us human? What does it mean to be in the image of God? Well, we have a sense, right? Everybody has a sense that human beings are not just animals who are smart.
And just like that, people, we went from talking like a genius to an extent to just talking like an idiot. We are animals by literal definition. What is going on? Just because you feel that you have a higher, presence, oh, I feel like I'm more than just an animal, does not matter. Your feelings do not come into the equation in a topic like this. Because we're talking about what we know and what we don't know. We're talking about facts. Just because you feel like you're more doesn't mean you actually are more. Just because you feel like you should be the president doesn't mean you actually are the president. This doesn't make sense.
Some people deny that, and I have never, even as an atheist, I never went along with that view. I always knew that human beings were somehow special, very special. I didn't.
Then, no, I already said at the beginning, I will not question is atheism. Then what kind of fucking atheist were you? The one that believed that something supernatural, something not supernatural at least, something special about humans. I mean, obviously we're smarter and we're in a sense better. In a sense, we're more our intelligence, our level of intelligence, and how it came to be together, forming civilization, helped us perpetuate ourselves further than any other species on the planet. I guess that's a better way to put it. So in that sense, we're special. In a special sense that we were created by some imaginary friend. That is just wrong. That's just like, what kind of atheist were you? And if you're the atheist that thinks like this, please put it in the comments so we know you exist. Or maybe this guy is just rapping it out of his, you know, you know what? Stupid.
Didn't know why, I didn't know where it came from, but now I think I do.
So I think that's a better place to stop. Next, they're gonna talk about dreams. Wouldn't we all be interested in that? Dreams. A scientist talking about dreams and how that prove God. How that proves God. This is just sad. There's no other way to even put it. This is sad. It's like a very intellectual person. You could basically tell that he's a very intellectual person. And he is clearly ignoring the things that we know about the universe. Nobody say we know everything about the physics. Nobody said we know anything about biology. The way he's making it seem is saying scientists or science in general should know everything, but that's not the point. The point is to continue knowing things, to continue improving our knowledge. Science don't claim we know everything. That's religion. That is religion. Just because the religion you're in claims to know everything doesn't mean everyone should be doing that. Science is not a religion. Well, I am glad you're an ex-scientist. I guess there's no other way to put that, guys. I am glad he's an ex-scientist. To have a scientist like this in the biological field would just mess up everything. Because you will put God in the equation. It will put God in the equation. And which God is God, obviously, because all the other gods are not worth, you know, being in the equation. Only his God appeared to him in a dream, and he could tell it was the Christian God. That's all for today, people. Catch you next time. Have a great day.